Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it. Always great seeing you. I appreciate you being on here and introducing me. I just want to say that it's an honor to receive this award named after Coach Steve Spurrier. The head ball coach has done it at an unbelievably high level for such a long time. Hall of Famer as a player and as a coach. And I think the unique thing for me being in this conference is him have a true understanding of what it takes to compete at the highest level in this conference. So it's one of the highest honors for me as a coach. I want to thank the Football Writers Association of America and absolutely everything that they do to promote our game. They're great conduits of the game of football, and thank them so much for that. Chris Doring, what he does as an ambassador for the game of college football and what he's done with this award, appreciate his involvement. I want to congratulate Shane Beamer on the season that he and South Carolina had this year. And most of all, any individual honor is really a recognition of everything that's going on inside of our program and the people that are in place there at Tennessee, from our on-field assistant coaches to the young coaches that we have in the building, to our support staff, and most importantly, our players. Over the last 12 months, the growth inside of our program of who we are, how we conduct ourselves, and how we interact and are connected with each other every single day is the reason that we were able to have a successful season in year one. And as good as it was, we are so excited about the future of Tennessee football. That's because of the people and the young men that we have inside of the building. The best is truly yet to come. So excited about the leadership that we have in our program at the presidential, chancellor, and athletic director levels, and the leadership that we have inside of our program. So excited about the future of Tennessee. Go Big Orange.
With that, we will take a few questions for Coach Heupel. If you want, enter into the chat or hit the raise your hand function. We'll start with Jimmy Himes, then we'll go to Trey Wallace.
Hey, Josh, when you went to Central Florida, you inherited a team that was undefeated. You go to Tennessee, and it wasn't quite the same. Talk about the challenge of Tennessee and rebuilding that job versus when you took over at Central Florida.
Yeah, I think the challenge were two completely different things as far as the program and what they had experienced the season before. Every time you take over a new program, there's going to be a different challenge. And that's just, where you're at, where you're recruiting, who's inside of the building, and what are the challenges or successes that they've had the previous year. And coming to Tennessee, obviously there was a lot of outside noise. We were able to quiet the storm, quiet the chatter. Our kids bought in immediately into what we're doing. They understood that the connection and accountability were going to be extremely important in the success that we were going to have. We never placed a ceiling in what our players inside of the program could do. We believed that there were great players inside of it. They bought into it and they worked extremely hard. And as well as we played at times last year, we were disappointed when the outcome wasn't what we wanted because we knew we had enough to go win on those days. Excited about the future, what we've been able to do in year one, but what we're able to build upon here as we get started in year two when our kids get back to campus next Monday.
Trey Wallace.
Hey, Josh, congratulations. You kind of talked about it right there from Jimmy's question, but just going back and taking that job, we're coming up on a kind of a week from the anniversary of you taking the job at Tennessee. When you walked into this position, there were a lot of things going on behind the scenes, and especially with the players. Can you talk about that just for a little bit, how you came in, tried to set forth what you were about to try to win the players over, which I think amounted to the success that you guys had this season?
Yeah, there was a lot of outside noise and in some ways uncertainty. A good amount of young men had entered into the transfer portal and had gone somewhere else. As an outsider that had watched Tennessee, my dad being a longtime coach, growing up in the game, but then being a competitor inside of the league at a previous stop, and having an opportunity to truly see what Neyland Stadium was like and what game day environment was like, what the Vol Navy looked like outside of the stadium, the passion and pageantry that is Tennessee football. I just believed in the future and what was there, and believed in that if you get the right alignment and administration are able to hire great people, you can go accomplish and gain ground every single day and accomplish great things. our players bought in, and some of that happened over time. Some of it happened, after our first meeting. I knew that they wanted a different culture. They were high-level competitors that came to Tennessee to play and win in the big football games. That was a very prideful group that was sitting inside of that team room, and they were willing to accept some change, to be truthful and honest and transparent in the communication. That's why we were able to grow so quickly.
David Pascal.
Josh, so much went right and you had some limitations as far as a roster standpoint. I'll ask you a golfing question because I know your daughter loves it and Spurrier loves it.
Yeah.
If you could have a mulligan about this year, what would your one mulligan be that you'd love to do over?
I'd take any of the losses and replay them. I'd like to have the overtime back against Purdue in the bowl game. There's a lot of things that you'd like to have an opportunity to replay and change the outcome. But at the same time, that doesn't define where we're going. So excited about the future of what we have and who's coming into the building, and really the passion that our players have for one another and continuing to compete and get better. High expectations from inside of the locker room. We got great expectations outside of the building as well. Our fans are excited about the future of Tennessee football, ready to get back to work with these guys next Monday and start competing and growing as a football team.
Patrick Brown.
Josh, you said a few times during the season that before the season you didn't want to put a ceiling on this team. When do you think that mindset sort of trickled down from you and the staff to the players, and they sort of believed that there was no ceiling and no limitations on what they could do?
I think in each phase, each quarter of your offseason, from offseason conditioning, second phase, spring ball, third phase, summer workouts to training camp, there was a continued growth in the belief that, man, maybe we have a chance to be a really good football team. For some players, that belief probably started a little bit earlier than for others. For our coaching staff, I think as coaches, you're constantly looking at how you need to grow. We were able to add some players to the transfer portal after spring ball. We were the thinnest football team in America this year. Ultimately, I think we started the season with 71 scholarship players, and it's a great opportunity for the guys that we're recruiting to come in and have an opportunity to compete. Last fall, obviously, there were times where that depth we felt like hurt us in the fourth quarter, but certainly as we got into training camp and our guys saw the consistency of how they were playing and competing and what we thought we were going to be able to do in all three phases of the game, I think there was a lot of growth in what we were doing in some confidence. And in some ways, a couple of the early season setbacks, losing a close ball game, but being able to go back and show them how we can change the outcome of a game with some small things that we control, I think got them to truly understand and buy into us having a really successful season.
Any other questions for Coach Heupel?
Yes.
Jimmy, back.
Josh, about a dozen years ago, there was a basketball coach at Tennessee that when he inherited the program, he said that the players were willing to listen to him because they wanted to win. Did you find some of that when you took over, that there were players that had not won, they were more willing to listen to you to show the direction of what it would take to win?
Yeah, I think, you might have asked the question, the difference in, the two programs that have taken over because of what had transpired the previous year. They were absolutely open to listening to what are the things that I think needed to change to give us the ability to be successful and to win football games. Very open to that. You had to constantly show them what that actually looks like as you implement it into your daily life, into your practice habits, into who we are ultimately on the game field.
One last question from Trey Wallace.
Hey, Josh, winning this award this year, you probably wouldn't be in this spot if you didn't have the buy-in from the seniors and the super seniors that stuck with your program and hung around. What can you say about them? A lot of them have played their last game at Tennessee, but from them buying in from the day one that you got there to where you are right now? What did that group mean to you?
Yeah, that super senior group, the guys that finished up, their ability to not pay attention to the outside noise, to be the calm in the storm, to rally the guys around them inside of the program, to represent everything that is good and what the word volunteer means. It's a group that I'll forever be indebted to, and really our program is too. As they help build the cornerstone pieces to our program as we grow forward and compete and win championships, those guys will always have a huge piece of that.